This was the first scramble. This solve was a 0.43. I immediately noticed on white you can just do 4 moves and you would be done with the last layer skip. But the angle I ended up executing this solve was on orange. I just saw you could do R, U prime, R, U, and that was done. This was the second scramble. This was a 1.02 DNF. I saw on white you could either do 5 moves to get to this EG1 case, or you could do 6 moves to get to a better EG1 case. I also looked on orange and saw that you could do 4 moves to get to this case, but I actually looked it wrong and thought that these two would also be opposite of each other. So I ended up going with that solution. I ended up canceling into a different algorithm, which is what made it a DNF, because I basically went U2, R2, F, R, U prime, R2, F, R, U. So then it was just off by a J prime. This was the third scramble. This solve was a 0.94. I first saw in white you could do 4 moves to get to this CLL case, and you can actually cancel into one of the algos I know for this. I also saw that instead of doing that, you could do 5 moves from here by doing R2, U, R prime, U prime, R prime to get to this CLL case, and you can actually cancel into it. So that's the solution I ended up doing. But when I had it here, I just did R2, U, R2, U prime, R prime, F, R, F prime, U2. This was the fourth scramble. This solve was a 0.97. I saw on red you could do 3 moves to get to this EG2 case. I also looked on orange and saw that you could do 4 moves to get to this EG1 case, which would have been pretty good. But the solution I ended up going with was on green. You can do 6 moves to get to this EG1 case, and you can actually cancel into one of the algos I know for it. But when I had it here, you can just do F, R, U prime, R2, F, R, U prime, R prime, F prime, R, U, R prime, U. This was the fifth scramble. This solve is a 0.89. I saw on white there are a few different ways you could make EG2 faces, but I wasn't getting any great cases from them. So what I ended up going with was on orange. I saw you could do 3 moves to get to this PBL. So the way I ended up holding it was I held it here and did like R prime, U, R prime, and then I was going to do R2, U2, R2, F2. So it ended up canceling into basically just doing R prime, U, R, U2, R2, F2. But I locked up on that one a bit, so the TPS wasn't too great.